Well, it's great to see everybody. We're excited for the week. It feels like it's been a long time since we played a game. You play 3 games in 3 days with a lot of new guys. I thought we got better, although there was a lot of ugliness in there, in particular the last game and a quarter or so. So we're excited to play BYU. Obviously, they've gotten off to a great start. They've already played 5 games as well. So 2 very different teams than what we saw last year. They got a lot of new guys, in particular grad transfers and junior college transfers. And we got a lot of new guys that are playing. So definitely it'll have a different feel than it's had the last 2 years. But I know our guys are excited to compete. We're excited for our home opener. It's always great to play at home in the Spectrum. So we've certainly have had some time to tighten some things up, and we've had plenty to tighten up on both sides of the ball. And so hopefully hopefully we'll be able to do some things a lot better than we did last week. Although I thought we really responded in a great way against Northern Iowa. I thought our energy was really, really good. I thought our communication was fantastic. I thought we defended at a very, very high level, and then really found our rhythm finally in that second half, where we shot I think over 55%, I believe, in the second half. And so hopefully we can continue that momentum forward till Saturday's game.
Well, Coach, Kyle kind of brought it up, but how are you feeling? How's things going for you now? It's a little different.
Yeah, but I feel fantastic. I feel great. It's always it's been 8-9 months or whatever since Corona that we've known in America, and it's affected so many families in so many different ways. And, I feel very fortunate, knock on wood, as of today. I feel dynamite. I feel like I'm asymptomatic. I feel great. I have high energy and feel really good. I was obviously when we tested positive, it was a bit of a shocker. I've been in self-quarantine essentially for, a month now. Obviously I have 4 kids and a wife, and there's a lot going on. And, I haven't eaten out at a restaurant, haven't been to a public place, haven't even went through a drive-through, wear a mask, wash my hands religiously, been away from my family, essentially living right where you can see in the background in our basement. And so I was very surprised, and then went and got tested again right away, and tested positive twice. So then So, because that's the first thought you go through your mind is maybe it was a false positive,
right?
But when it happens twice, you probably got it, and just been hunkered up like I have been for 3 or 4 weeks in the basement. So I feel very fortunate to feel good. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully that continues. Hopefully it doesn't, spread to anybody else. And you just got to deal with what you have. It's a difficult time for everybody. We're doing Zoom calls instead of meeting in person, and so many people have been affected in so many different ways. And personally, I feel very fortunate this way, and hopefully everybody stays safe out there.
Having this week, what have you worked on the most, do you think, since your last game? I know you faced another 3-point shooting team. I know I kind of asked you a little bit about that in South Dakota. It seemed like that's what you faced a lot of 3-point shooting teams, and maybe that's going to be the trend now, but it seems like that's what BYU's did. Yeah,
well, they're an excellent 3-point shooting team. That stands out. The pace they play with, they want their transition game, and they let it fly. And it's kind of what they do. They've always done that, right? Whether when I was an assistant at Colorado State and they had Jimmer and Tavanari and Lee Camard and so on and so forth, and we used to always say they're like the Lakers of the 80s, and I've used that reference to you guys in the past. And we definitely got our 3-point defense. It feels like everybody shoots it well against us right now. VCU has had a great start to the season. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. They start the game, I think, 5 for 5 from the 3. And then we tightened it up, and then South Dakota State went nuts on us. And Northern Iowa, I thought we did a great job with their shooters, but then their centers go 5 for 5 in the first half, and that's not exactly what they're known for, but we really self-corrected that, I thought. But we got to do a better job. And it's not like it's necessarily one way. You know what I mean? Like teams have gotten them in transition. Teams have gotten them off of kickouts. Teams have gotten them off of us being in the wrong position and giving up some same side threes because we're over helping. So there's a lot of different ways teams have gotten it with us double teaming the post at times, and we don't get to the double the way we need to, or a help side is over helping and not moving on airtime. So, but at the end of the day, we got to do a better job with our positioning, getting into the ball, bothering the ball. That's an area we've really tried to work on, do a better job of carrying a hand, having a stick hand. So there's a lot of different things with that, but certainly positioning and getting into the ball and bothering the ball has been a huge emphasis. And as is transition defense, we did a really good job with that against Northern Iowa. Did a pretty good job against VCU. It was our turnovers against VCU that led to direct points. And so the other thing with transition defense is when you take some bad shots, it's harder to get back because everyone's like, whoa, I can't believe you just shot that shot. Whereas when you take good shots, it's more natural to flow back, to get to your spots and to make that happen. And, transition defense, one of the hardest things to teach. And it's compounded when you take bad shots. And we haven't always been great at taking good shots, although I thought the Northern Iowa game, we were way more sound in that area.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, Coach, Ajay Salveson here. First and foremost, glad to hear you're doing all right. Secondly,
it was a win-win. Patriots won and the Vikings won.
It always has to come with the Patriots. First comments, doesn't it? Just has to go there.
I'm complimenting you.
First
they won.
Coach, first question, I guess it's a two-part question. Who's going to be roaming the sidelines in your place for this game? And how you've been able to participate in practice? Is someone Zooming it for you or FaceTiming? Or how is that working that you're able to communicate with the team and the coaches?
Yeah, yesterday we were off Wednesday. Yesterday we did it with a Zoom call, or I don't want to say Zoom, but I suck with tech. I don't know if it was a Zoom call or they recorded it and somehow it came to my computer and I was able to watch it on my television. And so you're watching and you're participating to some extent, but it's just different, and it's a fine line of, I don't want to say too involved, but the bottom line is I won't be there for the next two games. And so Eric Peterson is going to be in charge, so to speak. Austin Hansen has the scout for BYU, just like he has the last 2 years. And, we have a fantastic staff. I've always said, and I know we said this in the press release, but this is my 10th year being a head coach. And whether I was at Mayville State or South Dakota or Utah State, we've always said, you never know what the future holds. And whether I'm here or not, like this program can't miss a beat. And it's always been led by the players. And so the way we operate, the way we do things shouldn't change just because I'm not here. And I know it's like, maybe that's a little bit coaches speak, but that's the facts. And that's what we've talked about this countless times, in our program. It's shared ownership, shared suffering, and in the end, shared glory. And I think we've been able to prove that over the course of time, and nothing changes. We move full steam ahead. Our guys are in great hands with the staff that we have, the continuity in our program, and those guys are very smart basketball minds.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Miller from KSL.com. I'm curious, when exactly is your quarantine over and you can actually rejoin the team? And I don't know how much you can get into this, but did anyone else get affected?
Nobody else got affected. I got to think about that for a second. I believe I'll be back the middle of next week. And so I can't remember if it's Wednesday or Thursday, and again, this isn't 100%. I'm not the athletic trainer. But I'm pretty sure it'll be the middle of next week. And I'm pretty sure, obviously, I know I'll miss the BYU game, and I'm pretty sure I'll miss the game on Tuesday as well that we just got finalized.
Coach, how difficult is it going to be, Alex Fahar with the Salt Lake Tribune, how difficult is it going to be for you not to be on the sidelines and for you to restrain, like sending text messages with plays or analysis from home to your assistant coaches while you watch the game from home?
Well, you put a lot of time and energy into things, and when you're passionate about what you do and it's something you love to do, that's hard. Obviously, you have an off season like we had, and you finally you put all that time in with practice, and especially when you have a young team, and you don't want to miss a beat. But we've all known this could be reality this year. That's why I was in essentially a self quarantine, because I didn't want to have to miss a thing, for a lot of reasons. And so you miss out on, I haven't been going to my daughter's basketball games. I went to one, I think in early or mid-September, and I sat outside and watched it in the hallway. I didn't even go in the gym. So you miss out on some things with your family, and maybe some gatherings that other people that are your friends, hey, come on over for that. No, I can't do that, and like I said earlier, regardless of what you think, like you try to take yourself out of that equation the best that you can, because you want to be there for the guys. So, but at the end of this isn't about me. This is about our guys being the best that they can be, keep on improving. I think this team's going to get better and better every day out, every game out. I know they're super excited to be playing BYU and be playing them at home. This game means a lot. We've lost 8 straight times to these guys. From the day I got hired, people bring up the rivalry, and I've always said it's hard to be a rivalry if one part of the rivalry isn't doing their part. And honestly, we haven't been keeping our end of the rivalry going in this thing, losing 8 straight. And we gotta find. We had a heck of a game last year in Vivint Arena, came down to the last minute, a lot of ups and downs. And so we got to find a way to come out and play great basketball against a very good team, and hopefully we'll find a way to win the game.
Coach Al Lewis here. You have to ask you about Cada against Harms. I mean, Harms is a big name in college basketball, obviously, and you've got a great center. What about that matchup in this game? I mean, I know it's more than just those two against each other, but what about that?
Yeah, it's going to be a great battle. Obviously, Harms played at Purdue and was a very good player there, and had a lot of opportunities at the grad transfer to go different places. And, he's a little legitimate 7'3", runs well, very skilled. I don't know this for sure, but watching their games, it sounded like he had an ankle injury and missed the first 2 games. And then he played limited minutes against Utah Valley and certainly, had some time in their last 2 games. So he's very skilled, can do a lot of different things, certainly provides rim protection for them with his length and mobility. And then obviously Cada, I feel like has played very well for us. Definitely looks different than he has the first 2 years. He has to be a force for us on both ends of the floor. The other day, got to the line 11 times, made 9 free throws, been right around that double-double mark each game. Played a few less minutes the one game just because it was kind of out of hand, and you play 3 games in 3 days. But he's been a force for us. He's been a great upperclassman for us. He showed up to play every night. He's playing with great energy and great force, and that's going to be a heck of a battle between 2 very good players.
Then the other thing I got to ask you is about Fonz starting to help you more, because it was not really 3 games in South Dakota that Alfonso really helped you. And he's got to be a guy who really will help you this year.
Well, we need more production out of Fonz, and he's been in a little bit of a funk. Sometimes it's not just Fonz. I would say those first 2 games, we had some returners. Our returners need to play like veterans. And as a whole, and there were moments, but we lacked some consistency and a lot of breakdowns on both ends of the floor, but in particular defensively with our upperclassmen. And you can go right down the line, whether it's Fonz or Justin Bean or Brock Miller or Sean Bairstow. And, Marco has lacked some playing time, obviously, until the last 3 games. He is still an upperclassman, and he had some breakdowns, but I thought he kind of settled in that last game especially, as did our whole team. And so, I think a lot of times when you're struggling, it's easy to try to do everything at one time instead of, you just got to really simplify the game and the game is hard enough. And when you start thinking of all these different things you got to get better at, I think it's important just to say, you know what, there's a guy open. Let's just pass to the open guy. And then I'll go screen away. Or, you know what, maybe I got to do a better job on the glass, and not try to worry about X, Y, or Z. And maybe I got to do a better job of communicating a switch out. Maybe I got to do a better job just guarding the ball. And when everything becomes important, then nothing becomes important. And it's hard to hang your hat on, what we need to do. And so we need more production out of Fonz. We need more production out of all of our guys. At the same time, we've got a lot of new guys, and you're trying to find your place in the offense and trying to find what your role is. And sometimes that takes longer than you want it to be.
Coach, you mentioned earlier 3-point defense. BYU is a very good 3-point shooting team. How do you sort of account for that, and what kinds of things would you like your team to do in order to possibly, you can't take it away, but can you limit their 3-point shooting?
Well, I mean, first of all, look, 46% of their shots are from the three. So we know they want to, and they do a good job on the offensive boards. But for us, certainly some of it is tightening up what we do defensively. But I think as a whole, a lot more urgency in what we do. Sometimes it's scheme, and I'm not, some of this is scheme, and some of this is, figuring out who can guard who for us and having that level of urgency to do that. And a perfect example is the first game, Marco Anthony was on their best scorer, number 5. I know his nickname is Bones. I don't remember his name, but he hits 2 or 3 threes in the first 6 minutes because Marco just doesn't have the urgency and we're out of position. But you know what? 2 games later, he got a lot better and he made AJ Green earn everything. And that guy's a prolific, high-level player. So we know he can do it. And he was able to look in the mirror and self-correct and be better. And but I think a lot of it's urgency. Certainly a lot of it, is technique in terms of closing out, getting into the ball, carrying a hand, making sure those guys are feeling us. I'm not sure we did that consistently with some of those threes. But then it's more urgency in transition defense. It's more urgency on baseline drive, baseline drift. I think South Dakota State hit 2 or 3 on that. So we just got to be better with all that stuff and have the urgency to know what we're doing as a team. And so some of it's urgency and some of it's scheme, obviously, and I got to do a better job of coaching.
Hey, Coach, Raleigh Wooster played really well in those 3 games in South Dakota. But as a young guy, how do you make sure that he doesn't try to take on too much or bear too much of the load for your offense?
Well, he needs to. He's too good not to. It's always a fine line. You got to have you get what you tolerate. So we have high expectations, obviously, in our program, very high expectations for all of our guys in our program. Raleigh's got poise and composure, and beyond his years. And so if he needs to play 38 minutes a night like he did against Northern Iowa, then that's what we'll do, because we're interested in playing guys that affect winning. And it doesn't matter how high you jump, how fast you run, how good you look. It's all about how do you affect winning, whether it's making the extra pass. Raleigh's our best screener on offense. He's the most consistent screener. He affects winning that way. He's an excellent defensive player. He plays with great pace. He gets us into our stuff. And so if we need to play him 40 minutes a night, that's what we'll do. Because guys just aren't going to play just to play. You got to earn that merit.
Coach, can you tell us what your plan is for watching the game on Saturday? And is it just going to be you in that basement alone, I guess? Or
I'm definitely alone in the basement. My wife she doesn't want me around anybody, which, I mean, I haven't really been around anybody anyway. But I did always make my own. Well, not always, but if I was hungry for a sandwich, I'd go get a sandwich. I can't do that. It's kind of nice though. I need to get a buzzer, like just so like, hey, Darius, can I get some Cheetos or something? But for the game, I will be watching in my basement. Like I don't have I did ask Kyle yesterday because I didn't know if it was on TV. I was shocked to hear that it's not on, some sort of national network, but I guess that is what it is. So I know it's on tape. I know it's on whatever it is. But I asked Kyle, is there a tape delay? Because my wife told me, it's like, that thing's delayed. And Kyle said it's delayed like by a minute or a minute 15 or something like that. So I'll watch it at home and not much else I can do.
That we can watch you watching the game?
You don't want that. That might not be a good thing.
That would be tough.
It would be entertaining though, I guess. You know
You
what?
should smell your Cheetos. See, when I had COVID, the only thing I couldn't do, Coach, was smell. That was the only thing I ever got. So at least you can smell a little bit of food.
Oh, I can smell and taste. And my wife made chocolate chip cookies, which was probably a mistake. I've eaten way too many of those in the last couple of days.
Have you ever missed a game as a head coach?
No. Nope. I've never missed a game as a head coach. I've missed a couple games. I've been doing this 25 years. This is year 10 as a head coach. I've missed a couple games as an assistant, just being gone recruiting. And I guess I missed one when my daughter was born at Fresno State when I was at Colorado State. So, that's why it's not lip service when you say you surround yourself with great people and great things happen. And like I said, we have a great coaching staff and we've had great continuity, as a coaching staff. And when you look at Eric and Austin, we've worked, this is year 7 together. And that's, I think, a big thing that maybe gets overlooked by a lot of people. Continuity in a coaching staff makes a huge, huge difference in terms of philosophy. And when you truly are, I know culture maybe gets overused a little bit, but understanding what we do and how we do it and the way we go about things. And, they'll do a fantastic job. I know I was asked right away, well, do we want to play? And it's like, of course we want to play. Like, let's roll. These are the types of games that your guys dream of playing in. And they always look back on these types of games. So we feel very fortunate that we're able to play.
All right. Anything else for Coach?
Yeah, one more question from me. I know it's only been, I think it's 3 games, but I'm just curious your early assessment of Keita and Bean as kind of veteran leaders of the team. I know that they kind of wanted to step into those roles this year, especially after Sam and Abel left and all that stuff. So what is your assessment of those roles for those guys right now?
Up until this point, I feel like they've done a good job. I feel both of them have had great attitudes. They're not afraid to say what they need to say. They show up ready to compete. They both have played very, very hard and have been dependable in practice every day. Like, we know exactly what we're going to get out of them in a positive way. And there have been little unknowns. I think those guys have been very, very consistent. I thought, it's a new thing for all those guys. I thought Justin really I thought Nimi played very well, or played well all 3 games. Certainly you could say he needs to get a little bit better at this or a little bit better at that. He missed a couple chip shots right around the basket, the last, 9 minutes of the VCU game. Missed the dunk, missed kind of a little left reverse layup or right reverse layup that he normally makes. And that kind of hurt us when we were in a bit of a funk there the last 18 possessions of that game. And then I thought Justin really got back to playing the way he plays. Gets the double-double again, had 4 offensive rebounds against Northern Iowa that were huge plays for us in that game and really momentum-changing plays. and he got out just defending hard and doing what he does. You know, he's 0 for 5 from the 3 on the year, but he has worked so hard on that shot. I feel like when he shoots, that thing is going down. I'm very confident in that. It just hasn't developed yet, or he just hasn't made one yet, and that'll come. I feel very, very confident with him shooting those shots. So, but with their leadership, I thought they've done a good job with it. But, you know, there's a lot on their plate that way with our guys. But we're going to keep galvanizing and keep getting better. And I'm really excited about this team, where we can go. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, I'm really excited about the trajectory and what we can do. We've played 3 very good teams so far this year. And so the win-loss record isn't exactly where we want it, obviously. But I know we're going to get there.